Hey everybody, Graham here. I just bought a brand new 2017 Honda Civic Sport Touring Edition hatchback with a 6-speed manual transmission from a Honda dealership. Now, I spent a lot of money, but not all of it was for the car. I'm gonna go over this invoice with you here, line item by line item, so you know what you're gonna pay and what it's for. Okay, first things first, there's the MSRP. This is the manufacturer's suggested retail price. This is the price of the vehicle that the manufacturer, which is Honda, suggested the dealership, which I bought from, sell me the vehicle. Now, MSRP is not always going to be the price that you buy it at. Some dealerships will charge less than that. For instance, they might have deals, incentives, or specials going on in order to sell a vehicle. Alternatively, if a vehicle is really rare and hard to find, the dealership that gets a hold of one of these vehicles might actually increase the price above MSRP, and this just might be the price that they're willing to sell it at. MSRP is a guideline and does not require that the dealership sell it at that price. However, the MSRP for my version of the Honda Civic was $29,490. Now let's talk about discounts. If you're buying a brand new vehicle, can you get a discount? The answer is yes. You can get a discount for many reasons. On pretty much any vehicle. Of course, there are some exceptions. What you need to do is find a dealer that's willing to sell you at a discount. And a discount basically means lower than the MSRP. Now, I got a discount on my brand new Honda Civic. Happens to be that I actually used to work at this dealership about 10 years ago as a car salesman. Now, I only worked there for a little while, but I've maintained a good relationship, and I do send them customers every now and then. What that means is they extended to me the friends and family discount, so I got the same pricing discount that I would have got if I were still working there today. So after my pricing discount, which was $750, my sale price of the vehicle was $28,740. Now, that's not what I paid. I paid a lot more, so let's go over what else I paid for. The first line item on my accessory were locking wheel nuts. Now, this is an accessory that the dealership decided to put on every brand new vehicle. And of course, even though the dealership made the decision to put them on the vehicle, I'm the one that's got to pay for it. The good news is they cost about $90, so it wasn't going to be a deal breaker for me. I might not have bought these on my own, but they figured it was worth it, and so they put them on before I bought the vehicle, and they just added that on top of the sale price. That cost $90. If your vehicle has an air conditioner in it, the manufacturer or the importer, I'm not exactly sure, was charged the air conditioner recovery tax. Basically, they're prepaying for the recovery and proper disposal of the air conditioner. The air conditioner is going to have chemicals in there that are harmful to the environment, and they have to be disposed of in a special way. And so the manufacturer or the dealership is going to be pre-charged, and they're going to pass that charge along to you, the customer. That cost was $100. The next item on my invoice was a $25 advance disposal fee. There are other things in the vehicle, for instance, the catalytic converter and the battery, which are also harmful to the environment and are going to need to be disposed of in a special way, and you need to pay for that upfront when you actually buy it. Because those items are included on the vehicle, I was charged $25. The next one is a larger item, $1,595. I was charged for freight and PDI. Now let's talk about those for a moment. I'm going to break those into two things because they are different, even though they're charged as one. Freight is the cost of delivering the vehicle from the manufacturer to the dealership. Now, my Honda Civic was actually made in England, and then it came on a boat, and then it was probably shipped by rail, and then it was probably shipped by truck in order to arrive at my dealership here in Victoria, British Columbia. Now, here's the good thing about paying for freight. Every customer who buys the same kind of car in the country typically pays the same charge for freight, no matter how far away you are from the actual manufacturer. So if my dealership was next door to the manufacturer of these Honda Civics and the cost was $1,500 to deliver them, I would pay that same $1,500 as I would in Victoria, BC, which is on the far west coast of Canada, as far away from this manufacturer as we can get. So it is quite a fair and balanced charge. It doesn't matter where you live or how far away you are, you're going to be charged the same. It's allocated equally on every vehicle. Let's talk about PDI, pre-delivery inspection. Now, when a vehicle comes out of a manufacturer, it's actually not meant to be driven, it's meant to be shipped. The air pressure in the tires is higher than normal. There are coatings and coverings on interior and exterior surfaces the paint might be covered, you're gonna have plastic on the seats and so on. And all of that needs to be removed. Your vehicle needs to be detailed, the chemicals need to be taken out, the fluids need to be topped up. It's not shipped with a full tank of gas. It's probably not shipped with enough oil in it to run the engine properly. And other things need to be checked as well. So they're gonna check the brake fluid, the coolant, engine oil, transmission fluid, make sure there's enough fuel in there, hopefully a full tank if you've got a good dealer. So that by the time you take possession of your vehicle, it's ready to be driven right off the dealership. Now, if you put these two things together, freight and PDI, pre-delivery inspection, I paid $1,595. Now, if we add all these things together, it brought up the total vehicle price to $30,550. Now, that's not the end of it. There are still taxes on top of that. So I paid for the vehicle, and then there were select accessories, charges, and fees that I had to pay, all of which are taxed. Now let's talk about the tax. I live in British Columbia, and so in British Columbia we have two different sales taxes. We have a national tax called the Goods and Services Tax, otherwise known as the GST, and we have the provincial sales tax, otherwise known as the PST. The Goods and Services Tax is 5% of the vehicle price, and the provincial sales tax is 7% of the vehicle price. In GST, I paid $1,527.50. In PST, I paid $2,138.50. This brings the total amount of sales tax that I paid on the vehicle price to $3,666. Now, I didn't trade in my old vehicle on this new one when I bought it. I actually got a better price by selling it to a buyer directly than trying to trade it into the dealership. Now, if I had traded in a vehicle, this would have reduced the vehicle price upon which I would have paid taxes. So, if I had a vehicle that I traded into the dealership, I also would have gotten an additional 12% reduction on the total price paid because I would have reduced my taxes by 12% of the trade-in price of the vehicle to the dealership. The next item was a zero value for me, but it's cashback and the payout of liens against other vehicles. Now, if I had a lien against a vehicle that I was trading into the dealership, that would need to be settled before the dealership could take ownership of that vehicle. So let's say I owed $5,000, the dealership would have to pay the lien holder that $5,000 in order for them to own that vehicle free and clear so that they can sell it to another customer. Now, I didn't trade in a vehicle, so that wasn't an issue for me. There's also cashback. Sometimes you might want to buy accessories at the same time that you're buying the vehicle, and you can finance that. And the way to do that is through a cashback. The business office in the dealership will actually apply for a loan amount higher than the total cost of the vehicle so that you can have additional cash with which to buy those accessories that you want to include on your brand new vehicle. I didn't get this, so there was a zero charge for me. The next line item for me is $44.67, the PPSA, Private Property Securities Act. Now this is the cost for the dealership to register a lien against my vehicle. They did this because I financed it. I didn't have all the money required to pay for the entire vehicle cash up front, so I put down a deposit and then I financed the rest. And the dealership or the financing company of Honda that lent me the money is going to want to register a lien against the value of my vehicle such that if I don't pay my loan, they can then have the legal authority to recover my vehicle and recover that value so that they can reduce the risk on lending me money. The next line item on my invoice was the amount due at delivery. This is simply my deposit. I put down $12,000 cash. I sold my previous vehicle and I added some additional cash to that, and so that's where the $12,000 came from. And I paid for that up front in order to reduce the amount of money I needed to borrow to buy this vehicle. So the remaining amount for the cost of the vehicle I financed. I borrowed that from Honda Canada at a pretty good interest rate. I believe it was 2.99%. And I borrowed $22,260.67. So I borrowed $22,260.67 in order to pay for the balance of this vehicle. Now that money I'm going to be paying interest on, and so there's an implied interest charge. Basically what it means is this. They set up a loan structure for me. I'm going to pay the loan off over so many months, and I'm going to pay at a certain interest rate, and I'm going to make payments on a certain frequency. For instance, monthly payments at 2.99% for say 7 years. If you calculate that out, they can pre-calculate the amount of interest that you're going to pay over the life of that loan if you don't make any additional payments. So if I make no additional payments to my loan and I make all payments on time, I expect to pay an additional $2,438.69 in interest charges over the life of my loan. So if you add the amount that I financed to the amount of interest they expect me to pay, then I'm going to have a total deferred cost. This is the cost of the vehicle that I have not yet paid. And that amount is $24,699.36. Now, one of the important things that you have to remember with the Honda Civic in particular, and some other imported vehicles, is there's going to be additional charges that are embedded in the sales price. Now, to import a vehicle from the UK where it's manufactured to Canada where I bought it, there's a duty. Now, I don't know the exact amount, but it's estimated that the duty on my vehicle is going to cost about an additional $1,500. And what that does is that just straight up raises the sale price. That's not an itemized line item on the invoice. I don't pay for that separately. It's embedded in the price that I pay. Now, over time, those duties might change. The percentage to import a vehicle might go up or go down. And so the sale price is going to change in order to reflect that. But I believe it's about $1,500 embedded into the sales price for the Honda Civic to be imported from the UK to here. So on day one, when you first take ownership of the vehicle, you're also probably gonna have to pay to register the vehicle, and you're gonna have to pay to insure the vehicle. You might buy additional warranties, and you might buy protection packages like undercoating or leather protection. Plus, you might buy additional accessories. You might want that cool spoiler, or the upgraded stereo, or to put some really kick-ass wheels on your ride. All those things can drive up the total cost of purchase on day one. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. I love to read them, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Hope you enjoy your new ride.